which is unusual for any of these series, but so be it, there it is. Mm. Mm-hmm. Anything? Does it move you or not, or what?
Yes, it's very, very powerful.
In what way,
Comes
Margaret?
straight at you.
Is it the same thing that you feel before about it? This
well, I suppose
kind of
this, with the light here at the, in the middle, and you can just faintly experience what is behind. I mean, the head, the roundness of the head, but it's not really there, and yet it is there.
Exactly, it isn't there.
Yeah.
You're quite right. What one has to do is to read paintings like this. My things have to be read, interpreted, and looked at for a very long time in order for the image to begin to clarify. You can see what lies in it. See, there's a very great deal of difference between the subject matter, which is the soldier, if you will, and the content of a painting, which is what that painting actually does convey. And I think that does pick it up very, very strongly, that sense of tragedy, that sense of pain, and a face blackened. I mean, it's completely reverse of anything you could see in nature, completely and totally reverse of it. Well, that came, and I worked on it a bit. I'll show you the last of the heads, and this is possibly the last one I would do in this series. It's a little bit out of context, but never mind, it's in context of the heads at least. I have to get this one. Can you? Oh God!
No, it's fine. I've got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you? This is one problem. One day I hope to overcome. That I can work with cramped conditions. This one. Now take a long, close look at that. Eric, if you'd like to come in at some point and play over that surface and then draw back again. This is done really in extremis. This was so difficult to do. I really was at the point of thinking it just is not possible what I'm trying to do at all. I'm trying to make the paint speak, the paint work. Now here's the strange thing. When you do that, the paint takes its own life. And that is completely against any aesthetic ideas that you might have of how things should be put there. The impulse is always to draw and paint the face. And the intention behind what I'm trying for is radically opposed to any such certainties. You must not be so certain. I worked over this. It came up first excellently. They often do in the first stages. Second stages I'd have been to develop. And each time I developed it, and it went wrong. Each time I did what I was sure should be done, it went wrong. And I started pretty well in despair about it. I think, well, get it, no good, I kept saying. It's no bloody good, no good, no good. And I get the paint and I wash it up. You see the sponge and this stuff down here over and over again. And this board, little by little, which is nothing but cardboard, was suffering. But look you what I've done on it. What had to happen on it was simply this. Now, I've got to be able to get enough image of a face so that it is just that. But at the same time, it's got to do itself. Now, you see here, maybe, if the camera's close on, you would see up here, perhaps there's some indication here where you see the brown. That's nothing other than the so often wiping off that the paint began to come away from the board and the priming underneath began to give way completely. And so I look at it and think, oh, if that's what it's going to do, that is what it's going to do. So I took the sponge and I scraped it, a rag I believe, and scraped it even harder. And I thought, if that's what it's going to be, that's what it's going to be. And so I did, and scraped it, and it is as you see it now. If you could see it from where I am, you would see that all these here, the paint is, the paper's all scraped off. You could see the painting. But in a sense, that's right. Because after all, what happens in extreme cold? Skin begins to peel. And so I then left it to be that way. I thought, all right, as always, the literary idea comes sneaking back. Is there a helmet? Where's the helmet? Where's the top? And no, there is no top to this. It cannot be done. So I took a big bashing paint on the end of a scraper and slashed it across and got rid of everything up there and everything down here. I didn't even attempt to do anything pleasing with these whites masses here. I just used the whites. Palette knife puts in the whites heavily, and then little by little the face is there, and then I say to myself, all right, now that is it. I say, but it's bloody awful, isn't it? Of course it's bloody awful, because it's about a bloody awful thing. Its content is awful. So this is where the paint really takes, I think this image conveys the tragedy as well as anything I've been able yet to do with it. So, that is right. Okay, Eric, are you back? Fine. Well, look, then I still was thinking about the men, and so I thought, all right, let's look for a moment at soldiers. Let's just look plainly. So. That is so battered about that the very board itself is halfway going to disintegrate. I don't think I'll show that. I don't think it's not adequate. It's too painted up to be worked like that. I'll leave it to you to decide later whether you want the child there. Now, if I find them, yep. There are three. Yeah. Oh, wait a minute, we are not finished with the faces. I might have known that. Never finished. Are we okay? Yeah. All right, I'll put this. Sorry, I should have told you that there was one more very strong image which came out before this one. That one worked, that too was terribly difficult to do. Over it and over it and over it, and it gradually came in the form that you see it, and I think it's got a compactness and it holds together extremely well. But Eric, if I put the second one back beside that, can you hold those two? Okay. If you look at the two, this one is about. Oh no, it's not going to work. It won't work. No, we can't. No. All right. Well, look, we'll just take it, and again, after a moment, no, it's okay. I'll tell you what we'll do, Margaret. Take a look at this one, and I'll put this one back for about 30 seconds or so. Then we can see the difference between the final face image. Well, I think that by this time, what had begun to happen to the paint, that even the darks and lights which I work with, the masses, have begun to disintegrate, and I have to let things happen as according they will, so that the painting became very, very rough and crude, the sort of thing that painting in theory doesn't do at all. It always gets rid of certain effects of this kind, but I don't any longer do that. I think it works well. Does it look to you okay?
Yes, when I first saw it, it really reminds me of, I keep thinking of the crucifixion and the head of Christ.
Damn it all, that's, you know, with this last one I did, every now and again I kept looking at the face of the crucified Christ. I said, what the hell is...
That's what I see immediately.
I don't want his blasted face, but the reason, of course, that is that the same force in expressing that thing goes into the expressing of this thing, and the crucifixion would have taken up the point. Now some would say, yes, surely Stalingrad was a crucifixion then. I say, no, it was nothing of the kind. Stalingrad was pure cold suffering. Never mind about calling it by fancy names, but you're quite right. You're quite right. Even sometimes the helmet which I put across the top takes on, possibly, without my even being conscious of it, that I'm recalling the crown of thorns on that. You see, it wouldn't be, I suppose, out of accord. Yep, I'll put this one just briefly back again, and you see what difference there is. Now, it's not quite a good fit, but that doesn't too much matter. Would you say the same about that?
About that one?
Yep.
No.
Good, because this is the one that looked to me so much like that I had to fight it off.
Ah, yes. Oh, yes.
I had to fight it off. That, yes, exactly. Okay, fair enough. Now, let me show you, this had all become so difficult to do, and it makes you terribly tense. I thought, all right, well,
Would that be all right standing?
Mm-hmm.
That's
yeah,
what
that
one
one must go. Try and get that dried off as soon as possible. So the damp works into the board, and of course gravity brings it apart. Like that. This little fellow there. So, yes. 1, 2, 3. Are we on camera off, Eric?
Still. We're on camera. So.
Oh, we okay. Well, you know. I'll take these, this pair, and I hope I can get them together. Because they do belong in sweet, sweet. And it's not going to work. Okay. Sorry, Eric, for one moment. We're going to have to change this up a bit. Margrete, can you clap that board on top? No. So with these, Margrete, what I did, looking at the men, now this one was done shortly before we went over to Norway for a while. Right. And when I came back, I wondered, all right, what is this? The first person I looked to who saw that happened to be a friend, Keith, in fact. Look at it, and he could see a figure lying in the snow. Until I pointed out to him that there was a rifle at the side here. Wouldn't you take that to be a silhouette, as it were, of a black figure in action against against the background of snow?
Yeah.
Yes, that is what was intended. So I came back, I thought, all right, fine, now I want a second one to that. So this was the second one. In that case, it is as if the action was connected.